morning and good evening. We have a few folks starting to join the meeting. Welcome. We are incredibly excited for the event today and to share some updates. As you may know, in our program, twice a year, we send out a list of top 100 companies that drive the energy transition in the energy industry. Thank you to all of our anchor partners who collectively helped narrow the top 100 list to the companies presenting today. Thank you, Jason and Lisa at Dominion Energy, John and Sebastian and the team at Edison International, Roy, Brandon, Rashi at Worley, Andrea and Juan at Ecopetrol. Today, when you speak with our startups in the networking session, you can vote again. We'll aggregate your votes to be selected in the cohort. Now, to our guests who may be viewing our selection process for the first time, I wish you were able to hold this meeting in person, like always, but rest assured we'll incorporate that to an extent it makes sense when it's a safer environment for everyone. This is the fourth year in a row we have this event since our batch one in 2017. We've accelerated over 130 startups, nearly 30 corporations in the energy industry, value chain, join Plug and Play. We hope that you can also join our community to not only help the startups succeed, but also play a role in sustainability and innovation. As you may know, Plug and Play invested in 162 startups in 2020 across all technology focus areas and had major fundraising events in our portfolio, including 12 exits. We are super grateful for the recognition this week by our friends at Climate 50 in a category that represents our passion and commitment to reducing the global carbon emissions and fighting climate change. Now, we all know how different stakeholders need to work together to embrace change and drive carbon neutrality, from government entities to policymakers and regulators and financiers. But really one of the objectives that brings us together here is to work on breakthrough science and technologies in the startup ecosystem that may be industry standards in the next 5 to 10 years. So the short-term goal of our energy and climate program is to select the startups which you like to pursue a pilot project or proof of concept with in the next 2 to 3 months. We'll be announcing these partnerships in our summer summit in June, which includes our mobility, real estate, and IoT divisions as well. Please mark your calendar now, and our team will make sure you get the details when ready. Lastly, on the agenda, some housekeeping items before I turn it into my colleague Alberto in our ventures team to moderate the startup presentations today, which we're super excited about. So we hope that you have the latest updated version of your browser and you're using your desktop or your laptop. And if you have any trouble, you could chat with us in the help desk chat box. On the top left, you can turn your camera and mic on. On the bottom left, you can change the floor in the networking part. In the bottom, you see the chat box where you can chat with us. On the top, you can select which startup you want to have a chat with. You can find your table. And on the top right, please click on your profile picture, edit it, put your full name in there, your company, and drop in your LinkedIn page so we can network effectively afterwards. Anyways, without further ado, I will turn it over to my colleague Alberto, and I look forward to speaking with you during the networking part. Thank you. Alberto, over to you.
Thanks for the intro, Wade, and great presentation. Good morning or good evening, everyone. For those of you who are joining from other parts of the world, we thank you all for joining today. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Alberto, and I'm based in Europe, and I work with Noreen and Milad on the Energy Ventures team, helping clean tech entrepreneurs build the companies of tomorrow. The energy program this year will be heavily tied to the green transition, and as such, the majority of the startups presenting today all share some common ground around this topic. So we're dividing the startup pitches mainly into two sections. The first one will focus around the future of energy. So this section will mainly be targeting things like hydrogen production, clean fuels, decarbonization, and GHG monitoring. Then we'll focus more for the final section of the future of energy in things like long-term energy storage, batteries, EVs, and novel lithium-ion tech. Then we'll have a short 5-minute break, and then we'll continue with the second part of the presentation, which will focus more on digitization and asset management, first touching on all things utility related, and then moving on to more generic use cases. With that, let's get started. So our first company kicking off the event is Planetary Hydrogen, which is a Canadian-based startup that has developed a patented solution or electrolysis process using salt water to produce hydrogen and capture CO2. Presenting will be its CEO, Mike Kelland.
Hi there. My name is Mike Kelland, and I'm the CEO of Planetary Hydrogen. At Planetary Hydrogen, we believe that we've created this climate crisis together, and the only way that we're going to fix it is to come together and fix it together. We make the greenest fuel on Earth. How do we do that? Well, we start with hydrogen. And hydrogen has an established market. It's $150 billion today, split roughly 50-50 between oil refining and fertilizer production. But it's primed for massive growth, growing 7 to 10 times by 2050, and even doubling by 2030. And in the process, displacing fossil fuels in all kinds of different parts of our economy. With current carbon credits, we can provide hydrogen to the world at a fraction of the current market rate. How do we do that? Well, we take traditional green hydrogen production, otherwise known as electrolysis, and we add our special ingredient, which is a mineral. Once we do that, we produce both hydrogen and hydroxide out of the process. This hydroxide stuff allows us to capture and store carbon directly out of the air, transforming it into an antacid for the ocean. And in the process, locking away that CO2 for hundreds of thousands of years. The result, carbon negative hydrogen. And that can be used for everything from clean transportation to refining low or even negative carbon hydrocarbons. So imagine aviation fuel that actually takes carbon out of the air as you fly in the plane. Our team is really experienced. We've got our CTO, Greg, who's got 40 years in the global geochemistry cycle and has been working on this process for 13 years. He's supported by a team of scientists and engineers skilled in the things that they want to do. And we've got many high quality advisors from the energy space, working with us to make this process a reality at high scales. We were founded in 2019, and so far we've raised about $4.2 million Canadian. We sold all of our carbon from our upcoming pilot plant to Shopify, and we're partnering with Heritage Gas in order to offload our hydrogen. The pilot plant should be operational by 2022 and will produce about 50 kilograms of hydrogen a day and take almost 2 tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere and store it in ocean chemistry each day. Our Oceans Research Project will go hand in hand with the pilot plant and is led by leading researchers at Dalhousie University. This will verify the effectiveness of our carbon capture and define our safe operating parameters for the local ecosystem. If you'd like to talk more about carbon negative hydrogen and ocean alkalinity, please reach out to me at mike@planetaryhydrogen.com. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Perfect. So the next company is also on a mission to produce green hydrogen, but instead of using salt water, Electroactive is using local and municipal food waste to produce this hydrogen. Presenting will have its CEO, Abhijit.
Good afternoon. I'm Abhijit Borole, President and co-founder of Electroactive Technologies, where we aspire for a cleaner, brighter future, turning organic waste into renewable hydrogen. The hydrogen economy is taking flight and is predicted to be a significant contributor to the decarbonization via electrification. The challenges are building the infrastructure for providing hydrogen and production of green hydrogen. Besides transportation, food waste is another contributor to the greenhouse gas emissions, contributing about 6.7% of the inventory. US has 60 million tons of food waste, of which only 10% is diverted